Hey guys, I wanted to make a video just discussing the Switch 2 after the announcement direct and all the other information we've gotten. For starters, I think the direct was alright, but truthfully, nothing fully wowed me. If anything, it kinda disappointed me. Nintendo showed off the mouse feature a lot for the Switch 2. It looks alright, but the idea of holding the already small Switch Joy-Con on its side and moving it all around doesn't sound very intuitive. Most PC mice are made to accommodate most hand sizes, so to prevent cramping after prolonged usage. The Switch's Joy-Cons are already pretty small, so the idea of turning it on its side and making it smaller has my hands aching at just the idea of it. DK Bonanza looks fun, but man, I hate that new DK design a lot. I'm sure it'll be a very fun 3D platformer, but I'm not entirely sold on it just yet. Nothing about it looks super standout besides how destructible the environment was. I need to see more gameplay before I get excited for it. I'm writing this before the Nintendo Treehouse shows off more gameplay for Switch 2 games, so maybe that'll happen and I'll be wowed by it, but currently I'm just on the fence for it. Tons of third-party ports, which is cool, but they're still just ports of games I either already own or didn't care to play already. It's cool they're happening, don't get me wrong, but whenever I see Nintendo hyping up old third-party games coming to their new systems, I just normally don't care. The new FromSoft game looks awesome, but that's a year off. It's a huge get for the Switch 2 though, so it being the only major third-party reveal was super smart by Nintendo. The Kirby Air Ride sequel was really the only thing that fully surprised me. A sequel to an obscure GameCube game that is a cult classic at best is awesome. However, with Mario Kart and Sonic Racers Cross Worlds both already coming out this year, another kart racer doesn't really interest me a ton. I don't know, I'm simultaneously excited for it, but then also just kinda whatever about it. GameCube games coming to Nintendo Switch Online is awesome. A ton of these games are really expensive nowadays, so them being accessible to more people is great. I own a near complete GameCube collection, so it doesn't do much for me, but I'll always get glad about people having ways to legally play some of Nintendo's finest games. A lot of Switch 1 games are getting upgrades for the Switch 2, which is neat, but again, it's hard to get excited for games I already own. Although some will be getting free upgrades, so that's good at least. That game that's sole purpose is to show off what the Switch 2 hardware can do, being a title I have to purchase, is one of the most greedy things I've seen a company do ever. It seriously looked like a tech demo for the system. I swear, I saw a model T-pose in the demonstration. No, it doesn't actually T-pose, but I felt like it could have happened. The voice chat app is awesome and something I've wanted on a Nintendo system for years. The video streaming feature is cool too, but even in the trailer, I could see the frames per second just tanking. I can only imagine how bad it'll be on an unstable internet connection. In 2025, Nintendo still hasn't figured out online gaming. Mario Kart World looks really good, easily the most graphically impressive game Nintendo has ever developed. It looks really fun too. I noticed a bunch of new mechanics at work. The rail grinding in particularly looked like so much fun to do. I can tell Nintendo is banking on it to be a full system seller. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe easily propelled the Switch 1 into juggernaut status, so it's clear to me they expect this to have the same effect. Will it work? I mean, I hope for Nintendo it does, but the one thing going against it is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be playable on the Switch 2 as well. If Mario Kart World doesn't have just as much content in it as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then it'll probably disappoint a ton of people. Mario Kart World is one I'm going to wait on reviews for before just blindly buying. It doesn't help the game is going to be $80. Yeah, it's time I start talking about the pricing of the Switch 2 games and console. Nintendo casually left all of this information out of the Direct. The cynical side of me says it's because they knew it would deflate everyone during the reveal, instead choosing to announce all this after the Direct on their main Nintendo website. Well, I gotta be honest, I think it completely backfired on them this time, as almost all the discussion I've seen about the system since the price reveals have just been about the pricing of everything. I think we can all agree $80 for any game is crazy. I'm a hardcore game collector, and even I have a hard time shelling out that kind of cash on one game. Nintendo has decided now that games will be $80, which is crazy. Especially in this current economy, it's an especially baffling decision given the current state of the Japanese yen. For those of you who don't know, Japan is going through a recession of sorts, and the yen is currently the weakest it's been in years. Nintendo is primarily a Japanese company, so increasing game prices now while their home country is suffering doesn't seem very smart to me. I gotta be honest, once I saw the price of Switch 2 games, a lot of my excitement and interest in the console died. That may be why, when writing this all, I've been a bit more critical than I normally am. Still, this is how I currently feel about the system, and I'm not going to sugarcoat my feelings for anyone. The Switch 2 using microSD express cards is super lame and dumb. I get that there are probably hardware reasons for it, but I don't care, truthfully. A 1TB regular microSD card from a reputable brand is normally about $100. That's a lot of money, but a 1TB microSD express card is $200. That's literally double the price. Why are they making this change now? Does Nintendo have a deal with SD card manufacturers or something? It's bafflingly dumb, especially when it's pretty clear storage space is going to be a big deal on the Switch 2. Why is it that I say storage space is going to be at a premium? Well, Nintendo confirmed that a new type of game cartridge will be produced. That type of cartridge will just act as activation keys and download the full game to your console. Street Fighter 6 is already confirmed to be one of these activation key game cards. The game is currently around 70 gigabytes of data on Steam. The Nintendo Switch 2 is confirmed to have 256 gigs of internal storage. So if you buy Street Fighter 6, you'll only be left with about 1/4 of your internal storage left, meaning that you basically need to have the microSD express card if you want to maintain a decent sized game library. I know not every game will be like Street Fighter 6 and be on these game key cards. Also, obviously, I can just delete stuff off the console to make room for more games. I do it all the time on my PS5, so it won't be a big deal here. It's still annoying though. I just don't get why the Switch 2 is launching with such limited internal storage in the first place. Well, this has gone on a lot longer than I actually intended it originally being. Originally, this was just going to be a post and not a full-blown video, but once I saw that I had written almost 1,500 words, I knew I couldn't just make this a post. I want to say that despite my criticisms, I am still a bit excited for the Switch 2, but a lot of that excitement has dissipated now, and I'm just left feeling a bit disappointed. I don't really make videos like this anymore, just discussing recent gaming news. This time though, I just had so many thoughts that I wanted to share. I hope you guys can understand why I made this video. Anyways though, I want to thank you all for watching, and yes, the Star Fox Assault video is still coming, so if that interests you, please subscribe for more. Until next time though, you guys, peace.